Hi there, this is Jen from modernmedicinelady.com, and I want to wish everybody a very, very happy May. Yesterday was Beltane, which is the Celtic name for May Day and the holiday of the rising up of the fertility of the land and the blooming of everything. And I've got some lovely lilies here in honor of the lovely holiday. And it's just a really good time for that energy of focus and planting seeds and planting our seeds of intention to create the life we want to live and to manifest our heart's desire. So I wanted to talk a bit this evening about going about manifesting our heart's desire. Now, I can see there are a few people who are watching right now. If you have any questions, please just type them in and I will do my best to respond to them. And sometime later in this call or this blab, I will be pulling some tarot cards for people if they are interested in that. But for the time being, I wanted to talk about sort of the steps that are necessary to pursue manifesting our heart's desire and the idea of how to plant the seeds of intention in order for them to grow and eventually bear fruit. But before I said that, I wanted to give everybody a heads up, and the people who may be watching this later on YouTube, that because I am going into my busiest season, I'm going to be holding off on and taking a sabbatical from doing regularly scheduled Monday night blabs. And I just having to be pinned down to 8 p.m. Monday night as I go into the summer is just more than I can handle on my plate. So instead, I'll be blabbing when time allows and sort of as spirit moves me. So if you want to be around for that and you're interested in seeing what I come up with, then please subscribe to my blab channel. And also you can sign up for my mailing list. I'm going to share a link with you right now. But you can sign up for my mailing list and that will keep you really current with what I'm up to. And I'm going to post it here on the comments as well. And then, well, I guess trying to post a comment in that way. And then also I was going to say, if you are interested in watching any of the blabs that I've already done, you can check those out on my YouTube channel. So there you go. Oh my goodness. Wow. That was curious. I just discovered that if you post a YouTube link, that it will bring YouTube up on Blab. You learn something every day. Okay, so enough of all of those technical things. Now that you have access to my mailing list, and if you look me up on YouTube, I'm Jennifer, it's Modern Medicine Lady, Jennifer Moore at modernmedicinelady.com. And I'll share that link here. Okay, so it's Jennifer Moore, Modern Medicine Lady. So anyway, I wanted to talk to you guys about the idea of planting your seeds to manifest your heart's desire. And if you think about what goes into or is necessary for planting seeds on a real physical level, one of the first things that you obviously need to do is you need to basically assess the lay of the land and, first and foremost, to determine whether or not there's actually space for what you want to grow. And to give you an example of this on a metaphoric level or on a sort of more symbolic level about life, for example, if you were interested in a relationship and manifesting a new relationship in your life, and you were saying you wanted a relationship, but then you sort of look at all of the different things in your life about where do you have room for the relationship. If every single waking moment of yours is focused on taking care of people who have needs, working, focused on all of the demands that are around you, and there was like no time to bring in another person, even if you're saying you want to manifest a new relationship, if there's no time for it, there's no room for it to come into existence. I had somebody many years ago, this woman who very amazing, magical woman once said she had the realization that even though she was doing lip service to saying she wanted to manifest a relationship, it was when she actually looked at her own bed and realized that the only space on her bed for anybody to fit on was where she was, and that the rest of the other side of the bed was covered with cats and books, and she had books all around everywhere else, and essentially there was just no room for another person to show up. So it's really important to ask yourself the question, do I have the room for this intention? Do I have the time for this intention? If, say, there was a job or a career focus or an idea of something that you wanted to be going after, do you have the actual time? Do you have the logistics for it? Is there the physical space? Is there the room in your life? So obviously, if the answer is yes, there's room for it, then the next question is, where is the optimal place to fit this vision or this intention or this goal into your life? And if the answer is no, then the question is, first and foremost, do you really want what you think you say you want? And I think that it's and one of the ways to get really clear about whether or not where the ambivalence lies, what's going on underneath the surface that might be affecting your desire or affecting your interest in something, is by using affirmations. So let's just stay with relationships for right now. But so let's say, for the sake of relationships, I am totally ready for and deserve a loving relationship. And you start writing this down on a piece of paper. And as soon as you start noticing the yeah buts coming into your mind, and you start noticing the questions that are coming back to you about it, the sort of, well, I can't have it because of this, or this, you'll start noticing that there's going to be a dialogue or a negative talk often that's going on underneath the surface, that's going to start leading you to some of the places where maybe you're not as interested in manifesting this goal or this dream as you think you are. In my experience, more often than not, because we're complex and complicated human beings, it is very rare that 100% of us is on board for every single goal or idea or desire we have. And usually there is some kind of sort of like backlash or resistance, or part of us that imagines sort of the negative consequences of whatever it is that we say that we want to manifest. So we say we want to manifest a lot of money. There's maybe a part of us that's afraid that if we manifest a lot of money, that we're going to spend it unwisely, or that it's going to change our personality, or it's going to affect our level of responsibility and the amount of work that we need to do in our life. If we don't recognize those pieces that are underneath the surface that are not on board about manifesting our heart's desire, or are not on board about making these kinds of changes, then they're going to be down underneath, sort of down in the basement, pulling the switches. And they're going to still be contributing to what's going on for us, but we don't necessarily have conscious access to how those other feelings are affecting us in terms of our heart's desire and in terms of manifesting our goals. So like I said, one of the very first questions we want to ask ourselves is when we start saying, what do I want? What do I want to manifest? What do I want to do? Then to really get down and say, do I really want this? Am I really ready to live with this? Am I really ready for the consequences? Am I really ready to create the space in my life to accommodate this? Because anytime we bring something new in, we have to create room for it. We have to create time for it. We need to devote energy and effort towards it. And sometimes it's really okay to give ourselves permission to say, you know what? On second thought, I'm not that interested in this. It's not something that I necessarily want as much as I thought I did. So that's the first, sort of the very, very first step of this question, is whether or not it really is something that you want to manifest, or whether it's just more that you think you do, but maybe either you're not ready for it, or there would be something that you'd even be better served with than what you thought it was. So that said, if we go ahead with the yes, if there is room, then we start thinking about what needs to be done in order for the space or the room in our life to be ready to receive our intentions and our goals. But if there isn't room, then what are we willing to sacrifice in order to manifest our heart's desire, in order to welcome something new into our life? So anytime we are going to make a major change, generally it means that something needs to be released in order to create the room for something else to come in. And so it's important to look at what is no longer serving us, what have we outgrown, what do we not need anymore, where can we create space, where can we create room in order for this to come into our life. And I really think that when it comes to time, that's a major, major part of it. And so one of the things that I think can be powerful in regards to the manifestation of our heart's desire is one of the ways that we can start drawing to us what it is that we want, and we can start working towards our goal, is by actually creating time for it. So before it even exists, creating the room and the space for it, and then spending time devoted towards that goal, towards that process, towards the thing that we want to be manifesting, so that we've already created room for it. And so when it's ready to fully materialize, there's a space for it to land. Sort of the, if we build it, they will come. So the question is, first off, like I said, what do we need to clear in order to be ready for this? And that can be on a number of different levels. What mental limitations need to be cleared in order to be able to be ready to really bring in a heart's desire? What emotional limitations need to be cleared? What fears and experiences in the past have perhaps are informing the experience now and need to be shifted or neutralized, and just sort of the negative or emotional charge needs to be decreased, at least, if not, completely cleared, in order for that to not be sort of running the circuits or driving the bus. And I really like to think of, if you have had an experience at some point in your life, and particularly if it was an experience where you had a very emotional reaction, more often than not, when you have something, when you're going back towards something similar, the person who experienced it in the first place, and the age of that person, is most likely going to be the one that's going to be informing a lot of the conclusions that you're drawing about stuff and the way that you're perceiving reality. And for so many of us, so many of our first experiences with success, with social interaction, with love, with friendship, all of these things started to happen just as we were becoming conscious between the ages of like 3 and 8. And even though, certainly 3-year-olds aren't in romantic relationships, we are forming our first bonds and we're forming our first social connections and we're having our first experiences and we're having our heart broken for the first time, with, sort of the big kids not wanting to play with us and other kinds of stuff like that. So when you start imagining the ways that our first experiences are going to be affecting or informing our current experiences, you can start thinking about, how is this 3-year-old, this 5-year-old, this 8-year-old, this 10-year-old, this 14-year-old forming conclusions about what's going on now. And in order to be able to go forward with a clear head and with deliberate intention, it's really important that we get that little child out of the driver's seat so that the more conscious, deliberate, clear, intentional mind of our adult self is the one that's driving the bus. So that's sort of the one of the first steps with this. And then the next question, still staying on as we assess the lay of the land, is what kind of additional preparation is going to need to happen for you in order to plant your seeds? And so, for example, if it was in regards to something career related, perhaps it means that you need to do research and that you need to go out and get more education, or that you need to look into resources that you need to acquire, or that you need to delegate responsibility and find additional people to support you and help you, or perhaps look for investors and seek places where you could get a cash infusion. But there are the pieces of what additional preparation is going to need to happen in order for this to effectively manifest. In order to really go after your heart's desire, it's so much of it is such a combination of mindset and strategy and magic. It is never just magic. It is never just mindset, and it's never just strategy. If you just do strategy without working with sort of the mental, emotional, magical, spiritual components to it, and whether you want to call it magical or spiritual, if you have a different way of thinking about it, that's fine. But there's a way in which the creative process is a holistic process that needs to be addressed on the physical, strategic level. It needs to be addressed on the emotional level. And then it really needs to be addressed sort of more on the grand, universal, and spiritual level in order to bring things to manifestation and in order to really welcome your heart's desire. So from that stage of the preparation and anticipating what needs to happen in order to prepare, we come to the next place, which is picking the actual seeds and getting really clear about what it is that you really want to be welcoming into your life, what it is that you really want to create, what are your true goals, what is your real intention. That one of the most important parts of being able to create and welcome your heart's desire is getting precise about your heart's desire. Now, I will add a caveat to this, which is that there is a fine balance in the sense of, it's funny in that we want to get really, really precise and really specific about our sort of our yeses and our nos, our bottom lines of what matters to us, what we will tolerate, what we will not tolerate, and always leaving room for the idea that this or something better is manifesting in my life right now. So it's about getting very precise and very clear and specific about what it is that we want to be doing, where we want to be going, what we want to be manifesting, so that we have a very good sense of it, and at the same time allowing for the possibility that something even better is going to come along. But so, for example, if you were going to be looking for a car and you said, I just want a car, that's a pretty broad parameter for how to create or for going after a car. You probably want to have some sense of at least one or two kinds of cars that you want to, sort of a particular make, of car, and generally even you might want to have a sense of the model of car that you want. You probably want to have a sense of the age range of the car, and you probably want to have a sense of the mileage. You want to decide whether you want a brand new car or whether you want to buy a used car. And then you also need to be thinking, when you're talking about the intention of a car, what's your budget? What kinds of resources do you have to work with? And in this particular case, sort of looking at it from a metaphoric standpoint of, sort of a goal, the budget might be the time that you actually have to devote to this and how much energy you could be focusing towards it. So those questions of what do you want? You could get as specific as I want a blue, I want a gunmetal blue, or blue silver 2014 Mercedes-Benz with beige leather interior with under 50,000 miles on it. Like, you could get that, and I want to manifest it. And I want to bring it in this particular way. You could get that specific. You could just have at least sort of the general parameters. And I think that particularly when you start focusing on the physical appearance, that can often be a red herring or a distraction. And so it's like leaving that space open to the possibility. The other thing that I want to say is that when it comes to welcoming your heart's desire, what's more important is recognizing the results and the outcome of what you want to manifest as opposed to the how. It may be that you're clear that you want to be driving this silver blue Mercedes-Benz with a beige leather interior. And it's not, but, and that's what you're looking to manifest, is that you're going to be driving and basically it will be your car. But whether you're going to lease it, whether or not a friend or somebody is going off to Europe for 2 years and they're like, hey, will you watch out for my car? There's ways that things can come into your life that you least expected when you stop looking at trying to figure out exactly how it's going to happen, but you focus more on the outcome of what it is that you want to achieve and you want to have. And so there is clearly getting as clear as you can about what your intentions and your desires are. And then there is the idea of focusing on the outcome, not on the how. And when focusing on the outcome, this is where we plant our seeds. And so planting the seeds or welcoming our heart's desire there are different ways to go about doing this. And right now, with it being just after May Day, just after Beltane, this is the optimal time to be planting seeds for our heart's desire. So there are a couple different ways we can do this. One way to do this is to tell a story. And with that whole idea of creating time for your goal so that there's room for it to manifest and come into being, then the next step is to take the time to focus on it and imagine it as if it was already happening. So a very rich way to do this would be to tell the story in present tense as if you were living it right now, and really getting into the details of it, really describing what it feels like to be living in this goal, living in this heart's desire, taking that time. You could either be writing the story down, you could be recording the story, you could ask a friend or a family member who wants to be game and wants to play with you to be there and to hear you tell the story as if it had already happened. You could even do it, pick a manifestation buddy and have somebody that you share stories about, oh my God, this happened, and tell it as if it has already been. You can also create a vision board and start creating a board that's about the qualities and the feelings and the way it feels to be living in this heart's desire, in this goal, so that you're working with, and you can create either a digital vision board Pinterest is great for that. Pinterest is in many ways a really, really, really large, universal vision board where lots and lots and lots of people are creating their dreams, are manifesting their goals, are putting out to the universe what they love and what matters to them. So, and if you think about Pinterest that way and you go sort of peruse Pinterest from the standpoint of you're at the mother lode of vision boards, it really is a pretty powerful place because most of Pinterest is about focusing on the positive, focusing on what somebody wants to manifest, and is really about seeing people's visions and goals. And so you can create, like I said, set up a Pinterest board, create a folder and create a digital vision board, or you can really go old school and go use magazines and printouts from the computer and a glue stick and a piece of poster board. So there's that. And then in addition, with the planting the seeds, there's acting as if. And that's really about starting to create the space, continuing to reinforce and create the space for your heart's desire and what you want to go for and create, and acting as if it is already there, like behaving like you have. If, say, your goal is about creating a successful business, behaving like you have a successful business even before it is completely successful. And in my experience, particularly when I was building my tattooing business many years ago, one of the things that I did was that I always, if there was time or space to be working on something other than working with a client, I was always thinking in terms of every minute I had was about contributing towards my vision and contributing towards my goals. So say I had a cancellation, instead of interpreting a cancellation or a no, or like a no-show as being a sign of failure, I always took it as a gift, that it was an opportunity to direct my attention towards something else. And so it's this mindset of you're always using your time in building and feeding your business or feeding your dream or feeding your goal, and looking at it as that it already exists. It's already something precious. It's already something that matters to you. So every opportunity you have is an opportunity that you can use to continue to feed and nurture and nourish what you want to be creating. So I really think that, sort of acting as if you're successful before you're successful, acting as if you are loved when, and starting by loving yourself when it comes to manifesting a relationship. It's like self-love is the first key, and then external, it manifests on the outside. So I also think that this goes back to talking about creating room and creating time. The act as if is one of the things that you want to especially be doing in the times that you have created to create, where you've created the space for your heart's desire, for what it is you seek to manifest. And so just really behaving as though you are already contributing to it, you are already feeding it, you are already nourishing it. So I think that's pretty clear. If it isn't, then you can always, drop a comment in down below here if you're watching this, or if you are watching this on YouTube, certainly just leave a comment on my channel and I'd be happy to go into greater detail about it. So then the fourth step with manifesting our heart's desire, welcoming our heart's desire, is after we've sort of set the seeds, planted the intention, set the goal, the next step is surrendering it. In the same way that when we put a seed into the ground, we have to put it in the ground, cover it over with dirt, water it, and then walk away. There's a point at which we need to put things out into the universe and then let go and walk away. And I will say that it seems to me that right now, with all of there's so much stuff right now in the world of sort of creativity and or particularly manifestation and coaching and six-figure businesses and create the life you want to live stuff, where it's all about strategy, do. And it's like, just keep pushing, because keep hustling. And what I want to say is that in the same way that a muscle has to, a muscle has to relax, that there's a contraction and there's the relaxing, that you can't just keep on contracting, that anytime you start putting something into motion, there's got to be an exhale for the inhale. You can't just keep inhaling. You cannot just keep flexing. There's got to be the release. And so the point at which you have done your due diligence, you've done everything that you can to put your stuff in motion and to send it out into the world, that is the point where surrender is necessary. And so, hi there, Keely. Welcome. I am talking, and oh, hi, Vanessa. So glad you're here. So exciting to see you. So I am just sort of finishing up on the 4 pieces of manifestation, the 4 pieces of manifestation in order to welcome your heart's desire. And so I've already been talking about the first step is basically establishing the lay of the land and where you can basically plant your seeds on a metaphoric basis. The second one is the choosing your intentions clearly and getting clear about what it is you really want to create in your life. The third one is the planting the seeds by declaring the intention, setting, and also I will say setting balls in motion and starting the process, doing the things that are necessary to get things in motion and get things going. And then the fourth step, which is what I was just talking about, is surrender, anticipate, and allow. And so I was just talking about really surrendering to this process, and now talking about how allowing things to happen is as important as the hustle, but also the anticipating that good stuff is coming. And what I want to offer you, and I've spoken about this in other places before, but I really want to offer you this, is that the way that manifestation works most effectively is when you are in a place of trusting that it's going to work. So when somebody has doubt or is like, oh my God, is this going to happen? I'm not so sure. That energy is going to be affecting the way that the process works and overrides the process. But in the same way that when you were a little kid, and this is true for most people in a first world country, I acknowledge that there are some people where this is not true. But for most of us in a first world country, whether it was a birthday, whether it was a holiday like Hanukkah or Christmas, there was a time where we knew that we were going to be receiving something, that it was just a matter of time. And especially the whole idea of Santa Claus, like Santa Claus is coming, it's really just a matter of time. And that energy of knowing that your desire is going to happen, it's merely a matter of time. And just settling into that deep, deep trust and that excitement of what is it going to be like for this to be here, that is the emotional energy and this mental energy that you want to be cultivating as you keep working towards your goal. So it's sort of this interesting combination of surrender the outcome, do your work and surrender it, sort of take an action, let it go, anticipate with hope and trust that things are going to work. Sort of there's a term called pronoia, which is the opposite of paranoia. And it's the idea that the universe is conspiring to your benefit as opposed to your challenge. And just really that pronoic anticipation that good stuff is coming. And then really being in that place of allowing receptivity to just seeing things fall into place. So that is my 35, almost 35-minute spiel on the 4 steps of manifestation. And now I'm standing up just for a second to grab my cards. And so I always love having a chance to pull things out and share with you guys if people are interested in getting a card pulled and talking about particularly, I would say it probably makes sense for us to focus on maybe the question of if there's something that you have a heart's desire or a goal that you're trying to manifest, what pertinent information or what's useful for you to be aware of right now. So we sort of, keep the theme relevant. I do also just want to let you guys know that I am just about to go into my super, super busy season. And so this is going to be my last regularly scheduled Monday night blab. I'm going to be taking a break for a little while. And so instead of showing up every Monday night at 8 p.m., I'm going to show up when the spirit moves me and when I have the time to do it, because it's getting to the point where digging out or, carving out time for a Monday is getting to be a little bit more than I can handle, because in the world of tattooing in particular, the summer is when everybody is out there showing their skin and everybody and their uncle is crawling out from under the woodwork. So I am just giving you guys a heads up that you are the lucky ones who are here tonight. If you want to have a card reading, I can't tell you when exactly I'll be back next. So this is the chance, as the saying goes, make hay while the sun shines, but also, or I got to make hay while the sun shines is really the case, but also that, and be there or be square. So you guys are the ones who are totally not squares. So who would be interested in my pulling a card for them? Vanessa, would you like me to do that? Keely, would you like a card? Always. Okay. Excellent. Okay. Well, Vanessa, since you spoke first, I am going to pull for you. And does the question of what do you need, I know you're pursuing a very major heart's desire at the moment, and that you are really, oh, she's Facebooking me and she can't get on Blab. Okay. Oh, that's too funny. I can see her here on Blab. So maybe she can't. Well, Keely, if Keely can't, yes. Yes, and if Keely cannot hear me, then I will still be thinking of her and working with her, and she can always go check out. She can hear me. Awesome. Okay, Keely. So as long as you can hear me and Vanessa can be the translator, that's great. But we're going to start by focusing on Vanessa first. And so Vanessa, do you want to focus on this idea of information regarding your heart's desire and this goal of yours? Or is there something else that you were thinking about that you need more, that would be more effective for you? Yes, I know you have lots of goals and dreams. Okay, what's coming first? Okay. I am actually going to, I'm going to pull a double. I'm going to pull one for sort of what do we want to be aware of, or what sort of the circumstances of the situation is that we're talking about for you. And then what is the most effective course of action or direction that you want to be focusing on and taking? Okay. So the first card that I am pulling, or I pulled for you, interestingly, I don't know if you can see him, is the Man of Pentacles or the King of Pentacles, and it is a reversed card. So I am immediately thinking that for one thing, if you have a silent backer or you have somebody who's kind of offering you resources, but they're kind of they're not apparent, they're not obvious, that this card strikes me as being very much about finding resources, where the money is coming from, where the backing is coming from, where you're getting your financial support. But I'm also thinking that with this card being reversed, that one of the things that it seems to me is going on is that there is sort of this balance for you between your own hustle, your own ability to take care of yourself, and the part of you that's just always been really good at generating the money that you need to generate and basically doing it for yourself, versus letting somebody else help you. And I think that, and trusting that somebody is actually going to be able to support you and able to give you help. So this is kind of, my sense is that with this card being reversed, this is a fairly new concept, like letting somebody else be there to give you the support that you need and trusting that it's going to actually follow through and that it's going to work the way that you want it to be working, particularly. Yes. So I would say that piece of the silent is that one of your challenges right now is really allowing yourself to receive that, like to trust that it's okay. Because my sense is you have had a lot of grit. You're somebody with a lot of grit, and you're somebody who basically learned at a very early age, if you can't, sort of like, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? Like, if you want to get something done, you got to do it yourself. And this is a real invitation to allow yourself to expand your base by combining resources and uniting with somebody who can help and support you in a way that allows you to go beyond what you would be able to do personally. But I would say that it is a bit of a emotional stretch for you and a mental stretch for you, just because you have been conditioned for such a long time to be the person who's always in charge and to be the person who basically is like, come hell or high water, I'm the one, my name is on the lease, and I'm the one who is sort of, I'm the one when all is said and done, it's up to me to make this happen. And my sense is that this is sort of the universe's invitation to say, in order for you to grow beyond what you have already reached, which is really impressive, allowing this support to come into your life is a very necessary and very good thing. So the good news is you've already manifested a partner who's helping you, and that this is already happening. Yeah. Being a Lone Ranger is lonely. It's so hard, and there's only so far that you can possibly go when there isn't an extra set of hands involved in the process. And just having the energy of another person's hopes and desires and intention and will to contribute and feed to the success of something is really wonderful. So it feels to me like this is a new thing, but it feels really good to me. Then the second card I'm going to pull, which is where do we want to focus our attention, is the Star card. And the Star card is the card of healing and purification. And this is a reversed card, which means that it's all about, sorry for scratching my eye and changing the light. It's all about the inner workings. It's all about the interior process. It's all about really coming into your own integration, into your own process, into your power. And so I would say that this is an invitation for a deeper level of self-care, a deeper level of really, really recognizing what your needs are, recognizing how do you nourish and support yourself, and how do you really just let that exquisite starlight shine on you and feed and nourish your soul. So I really see both of these cards as they're both very positive cards, and they're both, because they're reversed, I see them both as invitations to a whole new way of being that's a lot more about receiving a lot more support, a lot more care, a lot more nourishment than you had been receiving before. So this just feels really rich to me in light of the stuff that I'm aware that you're working with and dealing with right now. But I would say, if you were asking kind of where the direction is for you to focus your attention, it may seem counterintuitive or odd, but it really seems like self-care and like really pampering yourself, nourishing yourself, like really, really like taking yourself out on just juicy, yummy, delicious personal dates. Like, you just like feed your creativity, go to the museums, go to places just like nurture your soul, and particularly like go on creativity dates and just do the things that are going to fill your creative and artistic self up to the brim. And also just to really, really restore, renew, pamper, and nourish you. So, I'm imagining this makes sense. Hopefully, do you have any other questions? I'm going to sip some water while I wait. Oh, thank you. Vanessa, I just want to say, and it's been really neat having a chance to read for you a couple times through this entire process, that it's so exciting seeing where you're going. Like, it is just so exciting seeing where you're going and seeing how much the universe is just opening up to you. And I have no doubt the world is your oyster. Like, I'm getting all verklempt and teary because I really see, and the cards, I can't, thank you. I can't wait. Your store will be a wonderful place to connect. So, but I feel the momentum behind you, and I feel the opportunity for you to be supported by the universe. The universe wants this to exist, and you are just being given a chance to really let yourself have the kind of nurturing, the kind of nourishment, the kind of love and support that you so richly deserve. So, yay for you, Vanessa. So, Keely, I see you are back. I don't know whether you have the ability to type or not. So if you can't, I'm going to let maybe Vanessa can still be our translator. But right now what I'm doing is I'm just shuffling my cards. Oh my goodness. Yay, Keely, I'm so glad that you were able to jump on and you can actually write. So you're looking for guidance in finding a fulfilling, centering life this summer, and you're letting new people into your life. Well, congratulations on letting new people into your life. That is, I imagine, I mean, for most of us, I think that can be kind of a mixed thing. It can be really, really exciting, but if we've had challenges in the past with other people, we have to, and this is not me being a psychic, this is just me being a human being. We have to sort of deal with any of the baggage from the old relationships as we welcome in new people and trust that they're going to behave in a different way. So let's see. So let's pull a card to represent what do you want to be aware of for summer. And then let's pull a card for what is the direction or the intention or the focus for you in terms of action and what you want to take. So the card that's representing your summer is the Ace of Cups. And the Ace of Cups is like the open heart. The Ace of Cups, I call it the contemplation card. And it's very much the card it's the card of being really contemplating your heart, contemplating your emotions, contemplating what's going on really in your inner space. So this summer is going to be like, I really want to encourage you to find lots of space for personal time, lots of space for doing the kinds of things that really, really feed your soul. If you are, my suspicion is that you're probably like, there's a part of you that probably really likes some alone time, things like going for walks on the beach, going out in nature and being in places, particularly with this being the Ace of Cups, being near bodies of water and spending time, sort of quiet, contemplative time by the water and listening to your inner heart, like listening to what's really making you tick and feeling what's happening inside of you. So and I also have this sense that books, like, do not forget, like, books can be your friends and books can be some of the new people that you're meeting, like spending time with books and nourishing and inspiration, like really tuning into the stuff that gets you excited. So I think that my hunch is that you are probably more of an introvert or an ambivert, which means that you're kind of between introvert and extrovert, but that you're not as much of an extrovert. And so my sense is that when it comes to meeting new people, that it's going to be kind of a 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of process. So it's going to be really important for you to leave lots and lots of space for your heart to get adjusted to this stretching, because this is stepping out of your comfort zone, and this is going into a whole new way of relating to the world, and allowing yourself to find that, allowing yourself is actually not the right word. Like doing this, taking these risks and putting yourself into this place where you're doing something that's different than usual, it's going to be so important to allow yourself to take the space that you need to recuperate from it. So whereas with an extroverted person who's totally an extrovert, it's like you can go to a lot of parties and you don't need bounce back time. But for an ambivert or an introvert, you need to take into consideration that every single time you go out to a networking event, every single time you go to some kind of party, every single time you go and connect with brandy new people, your sort of intuitive, empathic, introverted self is going to be trying to process all this information, and you need downtime in order to process that. So in order to effectively work this summer and make a lot of connections with new people that are in your life, it's going to be vital that you give yourself a lot of downtime with your favorite books, with walks by bodies of water, with nature walks, with, quiet cups of tea in the morning before anybody else is awake, and just really, really giving, and soaks, like get into the bathtub and grab some baking soda and Epsom salts and soak in the tub, and just doing the kinds of things that are going to really give you the space to process the information, because you pick up so much information on a nonverbal and on a non-rational level. Like, so much information comes to you when you go into a new environment. And it's stuff that takes time to process, because it's not just, what you see is what you get, and somebody says something to you and you now walk away with that information, you're going to need, it's sort of like you have to let this marinate, you have to let this percolate, you have to sort of sit back and distill everything that you're getting. So I just want to really encourage you to choose your social encounters and really recognize what your limits are. Like, you're pushing beyond fear, that's awesome, and keep on doing that. Like, don't hide out in the house and avoid altogether. But my sense is that it's going to be really important for you to create room for, like, knowing what the limit is, so that you don't basically overextend your comfort or go beyond that. Because I think there's a point where if we push ourselves too far, we end up having backlash, and you are stretching this year. So really doing lots and lots of self-nurturing and doing things to really feed yourself as you continue into this amazingly adventurous and emotionally open summer, with like just walking into the world with your open heart. It takes a lot of courage, and it's also really exciting. And then interestingly, the card that is the sort of what do we want to be directed towards, I'm so glad it makes sense. So then the second card I'm going to pull for you in terms of direction and intention is the Five of Cups card. And the Five of Cups is another card about emotion. It's another card that's about working with the feelings. So this is going to be an emotional summer for you. It's going to be a summer where you're going to get to work out a lot of stuff. And if you're a journaler, I highly recommend journaling. And if you have confidants and people that you can talk to about stuff, it is a really good time to be talking to the people that you love. So the Five of Cups is a card that often comes up when we have our heart set on something and we're so focused on what it is we think we want that we do not realize that there is stuff that is actually what we need behind us. And so, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, in this particular image, if you look at it, you can see the woman is bent over and she's kind of looking at these cups in front of her that are spilled. And there are these two cups behind her that she hasn't even noticed. And so this, I call it the disappointment card. And my sense is that because it is reversed, I would say this is very likely that you are going through or working through a disappointment from the past, that this is on the way out, but that your perception or the way that you're processing the stuff, that the spilled milk, essentially, the stuff that did not work in the past, is going to be affecting your ability to see the gifts that are coming your way. So what is really important with this card is to let go of the losses, cut your losses, let go of the losses, grieve the disappointment, but let it go so that you are able to recognize the gifts that are coming. Because this card basically is a card that says when you focus on what you lost, you cannot see what is there for you. And my sense is that the losses in the past, it happened to you, it sucked. Things that you were not expecting to happen happened. There was, and I would be willing to bet there was a fair amount of betrayal of your trust or betrayal of what you thought was going to be the case. And it was really like you'd banked on it. You'd put your eggs into that basket and it didn't pan out the way you'd hoped. So it's like walking brandy new into this new world and allowing for the possibility that even though that did not work, that you can walk away or turn away from the disappointment of that, turn away from the hurt, so that you can see the gifts that are coming towards you. So whatever work you need to do to really let go of the hurt, to let go of the frustration, to let go of the places where you're still like, but I put so much into it and I trusted so much. Can I trust again? Can I take the risk that if I trust again, that it's not going to happen again? And so I see very clearly that there are gifts waiting for you on the other side of this, but that some of it is about sort of releasing the influence of the past that has you distracted. Does that make sense? Awesome. And Keely, I don't know if you've ever run across any of my tapping videos, but one of the things that I do a lot of work with is I use EFT, which stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. And it is a remarkable, remarkable tool for letting go of all kinds of emotional stuff. It's really powerful, and it's actually really, really good when it comes to specific events and letting go of like a specific thing where you got hurt or something happened. And if you check out my YouTube channel, you can see some examples of how tapping videos work, and also awesome. And you can find way more about me and the way that I work at www.modernmedicinelady.com. And that will lead you to my YouTube channel. It will also lead you to more information about doing work with me if that's something you're interested in, because you can DIY tapping yourself, and there's a lot of relief that you can get, especially on a daily basis. And like, if you have social anxiety, and if you're somebody who like going to a social event makes you like, tapping for 5 minutes before you get out of your car and go to the party can make all the difference in the world. And so there's a lot of wonderful, wonderful applications for doing DIY work with tapping. And then there's also times and places where it can be really helpful to work with a skilled practitioner, because somebody like me can help you to go deeper into stuff, and also can help you to navigate so that you don't necessarily kind of, for lack of a better description, kind of end up getting yourself kind of pushed up against the rocks, because we can help navigate the ship through the sort of the choppy waters and get you to the other side of it. And often, having an objective observer or an outsider can help you see things that you didn't necessarily see before. So please check out the videos, but there's a lot of stuff that you can do. You can do tap along stuff and also just learn how to do that. So you're not so introverted. You've been isolating after. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. My sense, and that's one of the reasons why I was also saying that, like, you might want to look up what it means to be an ambivert. Because my sense from just sort of tuning into you is that you're very sensitive, and that you are, that you're very intuitive. You're a sensitive person, and you feel other people a lot. And I also just really get the sense that you process information, a lot of information after the fact. And a lot of us are not I'm not an introvert per se, but I'm definitely not just an extrovert. Like, my joke for myself is that I'm not an extrovert, but I play one on TV. And when I finally heard the term ambivert, it was like, oh my God, that's what I am. Because, I have introverted qualities and I have extroverted qualities, and I really do have I ride the middle of both. And there are places where I have to care for myself the way an introvert needs to be cared for. But I also need way, way, way more social interaction and connection with people than a regular introvert would need. So, and isolation is not good for me. Whereas an introvert sometimes, like, they could spend their entire life alone and they'd be really happy. So, totally check out what it means to be an ambivert. I think it's extremely, you probably will recognize yourself there. So, I had mentioned, so Keely, do you have any other questions before I put the cards back, or put the cards away? Awesome. I'm so glad. You're so welcome. It was a pleasure. Great to meet you in this really unusual way. Oh, awesome. Excellent. Well, I hope I meet you at some point. I can't wait to see the store. It's so exciting. So for you guys and anybody who is watching right now, as I mentioned earlier, I'm just going to say again, because my summer season is heating up. This is the last of my regularly scheduled Monday night blabs for a while. And just because I do not have the wherewithal to, thank you so much, Vanessa. Oh, please, please, please. Let me PM you and I will give you some ways. But if you are willing to boost posts for me on my Facebook pages, and also if and share my empathic type quiz, I would be so, so grateful. Thank you so much. And so anyway, as I was saying to you, everybody, this is my last regularly scheduled Monday night blab for a while. I'm not sure quite when I'm going to be coming back. But I will probably come back and be doing sort of like almost like pop-up readings, sort of, as the spirit moves me when I've got a few minutes and I'm like, hey, anybody want a reading? Come on to blab with me. So, please subscribe if you are here on Blab. Please subscribe to my Blab channel. And also, please go check out my website, www.modernmedicinelady.com, and go and subscribe to my newsletter so that you can stay current with the stuff that I'm doing. And if you are an empathic, highly sensitive empathic woman, and you want to have a sense of where you fall on the empathy spectrum, then I invite you to go and take my What's Your Empathic Type quiz. And I just posted that link right now. But again, if you go to www.modernmedicinelady.com, go sign up for my newsletter, go take my What's Your Empathic Type quiz, and hey, go subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can follow what is going on. And Hal Wynn just joined. So welcome, Hal. How are you doing this? Oh, and Hal just left. Okay, so then I don't have to offer to read cards for Hal. So anyway, at this point in time, I think I am going to call it a night. Vanessa and Keely, thank you both so much for joining me this evening. It was such a pleasure to read for you both. I'm really excited for your store. And I can't wait to see it. It's going to be so wonderful. And if you guys have a link for your store and you want to throw it into the comments below, please do. I'm sure that anybody who watches this particular blab may be very curious to see what kind of awesomeness we've been talking about. And you're so welcome, Keely. It was such a pleasure to connect with you and to meet you. So, and I will just say, also full of lavender. Oh, awesome, awesome. Excellent. Okay, so until I see you guys again at some point, I hope that everybody has a very, very blessed May, and I wish you all of the best with going after and manifesting your heart's desire. So I wish you a wonderful evening and peace.